Time to start purifying. Just to remind you, I won't be going through this whole thing each time, I'll just be doing the nicknames. I just thought I'd show you the first one and the last one in full. The Shuckle is called Bastion. Gaul the Granbull. I'd be interested to know where that name comes from. Is it to do with the word ghoul, or is it a reference? Please tell me in the comments. Sahara the Vibrava, which is a difficult thing to say, by the way, give it a try. But the runner-up was Amelia as a reference to Amelia Earhart, but Sahara is just too unique a name. Dante the Slugma, presumably a reference to Dante's Inferno. Toga the Beautiful Skarmory. There were some cool names for this one, but Toga is a reference to My Hero Academia, and I couldn't pass that up. Ah, the finale at last. This has been a very fun series, and it's been different to Emerald in a lot of ways. This and XD Gale of Darkness are the only real Pokemon side games that I've played. I've never played the Mystery Dungeons or anything like that. To be honest, I don't really know what the gameplay in those are like. I did play the Pokemon trading card game, a game on PC and also one on the Game Boy, and Pokemon Snap on the N64. But these are the only two games with sort of actual battles as a central mechanic that I've played. And this is also probably my most played Pokemon game, most replayed. I tend not to replay main series games because my teams and my progress on those games are just too special for me to want to wipe my saves. Emulators make that easier because you can have multiple saves. Although by now my blue save has definitely died. I'm fairly sure sort of all of my Gen 3 ones and probably my Gen 2 ones as well have all died. Whereas the ones on newer systems last. Buddha the Meditite. I'm afraid it's slightly misspelled. Buddha has 2 Ds, but still, nice reference. Stephanie the Mantine. I don't know, I just like the name Stephanie. Top Lee Chan for Hitmontop, which is a name that combines the 3 Hitmon Pokemon. Quite a few suggestions for him. Just the one suggestion for Apom, Diddy. Spencer the Entei, which I am 99% sure is a reference to, was it called The Power of One? Ojiro or Ohiro, I'm not entirely sure which, but yes, that's Furret, and the runner-up was Accumula, which was a pretty cool name. You know, it's because of this game that I consider a Pokemon attacking people to be such a grievous thing for them to do. It was implied to be something only very twisted Pokemon and trainers would do. I mean, it's a hallmark of Shadow Pokemon whose hearts are literally closed, and yet it happens all the time in the anime. That's why I always give it a minor whenever anyone attacks a person, because only Shadow Pokemon and really evil people should do that according to this game. So if you ever wondered about that, why I always give it a minor, it's because of this game right here. I mean, it makes sense. If someone's pet attacks someone, it doesn't tend to go down well. Some pretty name suggestions for Ledian, but Cade wins. I don't know if that's a reference to cicadas or what, but cool name. Alright, this one was technically a little bit too long, but Morningstar was just too fitting a name for Quillfish, so apologies that I had to get rid of the space in the A. I don't know what this is really a reference to, but for some reason Hogan really seems to fit Macro. I've got to be thinking of Black Widow from Marvel, but Ice and Dark Russian Spy could just be me. Bulb. The only suggestion for Sunflora, and a really weird one. Asmodeus the Dunsparce. It's a really unfitting name, but for some reason that makes it funny. This Mount Battle challenge really grew to annoy me, mostly because it is designed to be so damn slow. Before every single battle, you get a little animation and like a 10-second jingle where you see the opponent's team. You can't skip the jingle. Ever. And even on fast forward it annoyed me with how slow it was. And then you have to pick your team of 4 from your 6. I guess that gives flexibility. To be honest, I didn't really use it until right towards the end. But the really annoying bit of design was how it asks you if you want to stop playing every single time you move on. Between every single platform it says, would you like to suspend? And the thing is, the answer is no. So it's not even the default, would you like to continue? It's, do you want to stop doing this now? And if you keep asking that, eventually someone's going to say yes. And then it's a different one when you do, like every 10, it's instead of saying, would you like to suspend, I think then it says, would you like to continue? So you have to read the things, you can't just spam through it, and it kept catching me out. I don't know why they thought that was a good design, why they wanted to give you a way out every single time. It's fine on the ordinary one where if you want to leave, you just go backwards a bit and it says, okay, I'll teleport you back to the start. But for some reason in this, they did it differently. Alucard. Really, really obvious reference, although it's more like a scorpion than a bat. Still. Bombshell. This one also got Bastion, but obviously I couldn't have two with the same name. Pastel the Smeargle. Bit of an on-the-nose name, but kind of pretty. A very obvious reference, but the only other suggestion was a Blade Man. What was that about? Can someone explain? For Bayleaf, it was a toss-up between Fleur and Laurel, but I decided Fleur was a prettier name. I don't know that Gallant fits a Yanma, but it's still a cool name that I can imagine someone calling it. XD Gale of Darkness improves on Colosseum in a lot of ways, but it isn't as innovative. It does improve on things like the level curve. It starts off much lower, like I think level 10 or 15, and then still goes up all the way to like 60 or 70. It improves on the choice of Pokemon. There are like 2-3 times the number of Shadow Pokemon to pick from, and even some Wilds. Purification methods, there are ways, so one thing I will do in the next one is purify as I go rather than all in a big batch at the end, because this did not work. But it also has some of the most annoying characters. Plus it's full of plot holes. I mean, so is Colosseum, but the second one really compounds on that. I can't actually remember the plot holes of Gale of Darkness off the top of my head, or even really of Colosseum, if I'm perfectly honest right now. It's been a long series. But that is something to rediscover when I do play Gale of Darkness. And to be honest, I don't really know the sequel as well as I know this. I definitely don't, in fact. I remember vast swaths of Gale of Darkness, and certain details like particular characters, both good and bad ones, but I don't really remember the plot like I do with Colosseum. And that's because I've only played Gale of Darkness through maybe twice, whereas Colosseum probably 5-6 times. I don't remember how many times I said it was before, but add 1 to whatever that was. Yeah. They are really good games, and I am very much looking forward to playing Gale of Darkness on the channel, and just because it's a good game. Uselina. Stratus was the runner-up because of, Clouds, but Uselina is so unique. Another one that I had to abbreviate very slightly. I had to get rid of the second R because Hassleberry was a little bit too long. Funnily enough, both Fear and The Fear were suggested for Ariados, but The Fear makes me think of the Lily Allen song, which I kinda like, so that's why it's one. Blitzen the Stantler, what more is there to say? Deku the Heracross. I wasn't sure about this at first, but an insignificant bug who fights back, yeah, Deku from My Hero really does sort of fit. Looking at it right now, it suddenly makes me think that Croconaur's design is inspired by, like, cavemen. It was around here that I began to struggle, or at least began to have to think about what I was actually doing. Because I managed to build Dawn and Summer Sun as very fast glass cannons, I was able to rely on their raw damage output to one-shot most Pokemon in the challenge. And as the teams I faced slowly shifted into fully evolved Pokemon and the old legendary, there was a bloody Latias and Latios in this, I found I had to focus a bit more and pick my shots more carefully. To be honest, I barely even had to type match. Mostly just sort of picking which would take more damage from a fire move or a psychic move. And it was very, very rare that I would actually have to use Dusk or Spring Rain. And I think I used High Noon once in the entire challenge and never used Midnight. Dawn was fantastic as a very fast, incredibly hard-hitting glass cannon. Generally couldn't take a hit back, whereas Summer Sun could take a few hits and still deal a lot of damage. Dusk was all around an amazing tank, and I don't think it ever got knocked out. Maybe once, I don't really recall. Whereas Spring Rain had a nice varied moveset to sweep up the awkward types like Dragon and Electric. I definitely could not have even come close to completing this challenge without Spring Rain's Ice Beam, Dusk's Toxic, and Summer Sun's Brick Break. And, of course, Dawn's Psychic. That was just the most powerful move I had. One-shot so many things. The tactical variety was absolutely essential, so I'm really glad I learned how to do that before attempting this challenge. God, can you imagine what it would have been like if I tried to do this before I learned that? Where I'd have like a Psychic type with 2 or 3 Psychic moves. What a waste. Holy crap, is evolving. Okay, that's different. Wasn't expecting that. Yay! A Pokemon that I don't particularly like. William? I have no idea what that means, but that is such an interesting name. Duality and especially Black Bell were both beautiful names for an Absol, but Purity, I'm afraid, won. Eorga or Iorga? The others were all rather on-the-nose references, but that one's different. Yet another that I had to cut down a little bit short, Thunderball for Miltank. For the so-called ultimate Shadow Pokemon, Kenzen. It was either this or Tyke, and Tyke's a cool name, but it seems more fitting for a Larvitar than a Tyranitar. From about the 90th battle onwards, I had to carefully pick my types. I had to switch up my starting 2 to match the most likely opponents. I could have done that from the start, but Dawn and Summer Sun were too powerful to bother. I faced Latias and Latios, the 3 Reggies, they were tough, Groudon and not Kyogre, and the 3 legendary dogs. I'm surprised there weren't more legendaries, actually, now that I think about it. I'm surprised the final guy didn't have a legendary at all. But the guy who had Groudon was a child. I have no idea why they chose that, why they think... Is that even... No, this isn't canonical. I'm fairly sure battle mode is not canonical. But even so, this was an interesting challenge, and harder, definitely, than even the Battle Frontier in Emerald, just because that felt like an inevitability, whereas this felt like a real skill challenge. So in that case, yeah, I think it was a very good challenge. Annoying in a lot of places, but still a fun challenge that overall I'm proud that I won. For the one that should have been the ultimate Shadow Pokemon, even now I'm torn between Shagohod and Saladin for Metagross, but I guess I'm going to go with Shagohod. And the final Shadow Pokemon. The final one that you catch, and the final one that I'm purifying in this playthrough, Togetic. As soon as I saw this name, I knew I had to have it, and might actually be my favourite name from the entire series. And if it's okay with whoever suggested it, I might have to use it more in the future. White Star. That is just such a pretty and cool name, and the perfect one to end this on. And if I've timed this right, if I planned it right, I should now be about to go to the final battle. And we're back to live. I thought I'd do the last one as a proper battle, as it will be the last battle of the series. This has been a massive ball ache. Oh, this has not been a fun, 6-7 hours of just doing these battles on fast forward. I mean, you'll notice the sound cut out for the last, 40 battles. That's because I just could not bear doing this in absolute silence anymore, so I had to watch something while I was playing it. This has been, yeah, I've talked about it. Is that Yugen? Holy crap, it's Yugen. I commend you for coming. Let your eyes burn with the glory of the double battle to end all double battles. It's not. It's a guy who looks exactly like Yugen called Inity. No, that would have been interesting. Okay, so Espeon, Umbreon, and my usual 2. Okay. So I've talked a lot about, I imagine, sort of how it's gone, and how it got really hard towards the end. I will also say that number 99 had a Kyogre in his lineup, and didn't use it. He thought, yeah, Gorobis, that's better than Kyogre. Is this going really slow for anyone else? Nope, it's normal speed, it's just... I'm so used to playing it on max speed that... Oh no. I've also got like, 50 bloody continues? 70 continues lined up? Every time I won a perfect match without any Pokemon getting knocked out, I got to continue. My god, this feels sluggish. Like I said, about 6-7 hours on double speed. Oh god, everything's so slow. I'm looking forward to being done with this, mostly because I feel that this series has gone on as long as it can. And, oh no, Espeon's about to be knocked out. Well, thanks for lasting less than a round. Let's try and get rid of that Salamence. I hate Salamence. I said Salamence. I've been watching Better Call Saul, so Salamanca. Okay, I might need to use a continue because Dawn being out that early. Then again, Dusk is such a tank. Dusk has carried me through. Oh, nice hit. Maybe I won't need to continue. I've not used a single continue this entire time. To be honest, I don't know how clearly you'll be able to see this stuff because it's going to be on super fast forward. I recorded it at double speed and then sped it up. Nice hit. Alright, no, we do need to take out the Salamence. So everything on Salamence, anything that doesn't hit Salamence will roll over onto Ludicolo. I cannot believe that Ludicolo is going to be the last Pokemon I battle on this. And I've still got Summer Sun. Yep, Ludicolo is going to be the last Pokemon I battle on this series. That's a bit depressing. But it's all over now. Groudon was probably the toughest. No, what's... Latios, I think, was the toughest until I realised that it would be weak to dark attacks. Overall, the 4 toughest spaces were 87, I wrote this down, 87, 88, 94, and the absolute toughest was 97, where I was fairly sure I would lose. And then I just managed to scrape through Toxic. Might not be needed, but... To be honest, I haven't... No, I think I've already talked about that. I'll have already talked about that. The thing is, at time of recording, I haven't talked about it, because I'm recording this before I've recorded the audio for the rest of this, because I don't know how much audio I need. This has been a weird video to make. Something like 8 hours of work. I mean, the only thing that used more hours was the Age of Encryption prologue episode, which used something like, I can't remember. Wasn't it like 48 hours of footage or something sped up? Or at least 48 hours of recording time. Didn't use all of it. Come on, Ludicolo, just roll over and collapse, please. I've won now. You're poisoned. You're definitely not going to win. Especially not with that little health. I might even knock you out this turn. From the Toxic. Yeah, he's going to get knocked out by the Toxic. And he flinched. And he healed a little. Come on. Oh. Leftovers saved him for one more turn. Come on, Summer Sun. Deal the final blow. And it's over. I win. You know, I was practicing in my head what I would say if I decided, no, Mount Battle is too hard. But I haven't needed. The coordination between not only you and your Pokemon, but also the Pokemon themselves is admirably perfect. That's way too long a speech to be at the end there. Terrible design in this. You celebrate your mastery of purification and battling? Ho-Oh arrived. Fantastic. Yeah, sure. So I will now go and see Ho-Oh. 64 hours 57 this took me. In sped up time. No idea what it was in real time. So Ho-Oh should be right there. Level 70. Pressure. Comes with Recovery, Fire Blast, Sunny Day, and Swift. What a terrible lineup. Well, that's quite... actually. Sorry, High Noon. Ho-Oh's better. I dub it Ho-Oh Noon. Hello. And that's the end of the series. Mattle. Oh, Mount Battle, right. Sorry, the OT is Mattle. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this series. It's been fun. I have enjoyed it. I'm sure I've talked myself around in circles, but yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I'll play XD Gale of Darkness at some point soon. Not right away, but it is going to be the next Pokemon game I play. Next time I feel I have a slot on the channel that I want to use it for. So, thank you very much. And for the last time on this series, I will catch you later.